You know that moment in a sim flight where the airplane finally pushes back against you a little and you think, wow, now it feels real? This is exactly what happened the first time I pulled on this. This is the MOZA AY210 yoke base with a MOZA MFY-Yoke. It is rated for 9 Newton meters of torque, up to 210 newtons of push force, and 150 millimeters of pitch travel. I first saw this yoke system at Flight Sim Expo and Sim Gaming Expo this year. It has now become my main yoke for the both GA aircraft and Boeing flights. Having it bolted into my own rig tells a much clearer story. In this video, we'll talk about how it's built, how I mount it on my desk and on my upcoming VR motion rig, and one software tweak that changed the way it feels. Now first, let's start with unboxing of the MOZA AY210 yoke base. Inside the box, you get the user manual, USB and power cables, a small tool bag with mounting screws, the power adapter, and finally, the AY210 yoke base. It is heavy, around 8 kilos, with an aluminum alloy housing and a reinforced high-strength steel chassis. The MOZA MFY-Yoke unboxing is very simple. You open the box, and it's just a yoke, ready to mount. On the back, you have an all-aluminum quick release. You line up pins with the MOZA AY210 yoke base, push it on, and it locks with no tools and no play. If you want to swap to a different yoke handle later, you use the same push motion on tabs, and it comes off in seconds. On the build side, the MOZA AY210 yoke base feels like proper hardware. The steel chassis keeps it rigid, and the aluminum shell keeps everything tight when you move through the 150mm pitch travel and the 180-degree roll range. On the front, there's a small switch panel with 13 customizable switches that you can map in MOZA cockpit software. You can assign things like lights, gear, and system controls, and even use long press options tied to sim telemetry. There's no obvious flex in the mechanism, and it feels smooth and controlled when you're hand flying or trimming out small corrections. The MFY-Yoke is modeled after a commercial aircraft yoke. The grips feel natural. It is built from fiberglass reinforced PA66 so you can take serious force. On the front, you get up to 34 configurable inputs with buttons, hats, triggers, and a dual Hall-Effekt joysticks. You can also tweak the RGB lighting or switch it off if you want a darker cockpit. On my upcoming VR motion rig, the AY210 is mounted directly to the frame, so when the platform moves, the yoke moves with me. You use the MOZA cockpit software to create profiles for different aircraft and tune force feedback strength, travel curves, center feel, and how much the yoke responds to telemetry from the sim. For me, the one tweak that changed how this yoke felt was the pitch curve and center feel. Out of the box, the travel and force already feel strong. Once I softened the very center and made the force build as I moved away from the neutral, it started to feel much closer to the way control forces build up in a real aircraft. If you want to see how the MOZA AY210 yoke base and MOZA MFY-Yoke behaves in the real flights, that is all happening on my live streams with general aviation in VR, on the motion rig, and a 737 style airliners from gate to gate with live ATC on VATSIM. To wrap up, the MOZA AY210 yoke base and the MOZA MFY-Yoke are clearly aimed at serious simmers who want strong force feedback, long travel, and a solid mounting solution. If you're building a proper home cockpit or upgrading from a light entry-level yoke, this is a big jump in realism and build quality. In the next video, I will do a full flight test with this setup and take you through a complete flight using the yoke from start to finish. So if you want to see how it feels on approach, in turbulence, and in busy airspace, make sure you're subscribed and keep an eye out for that upload. Thanks for watching, and as always, fly smart, fly safe, and keep chasing the horizons.